control free democracy are the people who have means, have money, have influence, have political, have organization. We cannot compete with them on that. In the financial level, they control everything. That is why this war on global terror is a part of the whole system that this global village would like to control everything.
So how do you then equate globalization and Islam?
No, Islam is a globalization. Islam is globalism.
Then let me put it this way. Where do you draw the fine line between Islam and modernity?
Okay, modernity, if you understand modernity of change, it's modernity is modernized change.
I want to know the bone of contention here, the point, the underlying.
I will tell you what. There's no contradiction, there's no conflict between Islam and modernity. What is the problem is the concept of modernity itself. If to modernize, to globalize, to change the fundamentals of belief and practice in Islam, Islam will reject it. But the modernity and globalization is to develop what exists for the benefit of humanity. Islam is for it.
But then, are you suggesting, Professor, that globalization has brought about a kind of situation where there is an inherent bias in the global order? One side is disadvantaged, and I would assume that is who is the weaker of the two sides, because here is an equation.
Now here you have North and South.
You said we don't have the capacity to compete, to challenge.
You have North and South. You have developing world and developed world. Developed world has capacity to control all means of development. They can allow you to develop, and it's already repeated. And I think our head of state is doesn't mince his word. This developed country would not help you to develop. You have to develop yourself. There's what you call intellectual hegemony, which is behind the question of globalization. These main institutions that really control globalization, why do they want to globalize? Globalism is a recognition of the role of human being in maintaining the law and order in this world. Because, Keba, if you take a tour in cosmos, just think of cosmos properly. What do you see? You see order and harmony. And you see beauty and equilibrium. And you see justice and mercy. These are characteristics you see in what Allah creates, if you look very carefully about it. But these attributes, order, harmony, justice, equilibrium, and mercy, these are attributes, belong to a reality in which they exist. It's not the harmony that is produced by the cosmos. The harmony is produced by the creator of the cosmos. If you fail to recognize that the creator himself created for a purpose, and the purpose is to maintain the order, maintain equilibrium, maintain the harmony with all, and you give human beings his role as the only creator who can understand and carry out this. And you take on yourself that you have to dominate. And I tell you another thing, which is very serious thing, which perhaps we have to have all the time to talk about, that we call the secular materialism. We talk about secularism. Gambia is a secular state. We have no problem with the secularity. But if the secularism means life without God, and materialism means nature without spirit, then Islam will not go with that. If modernity is for that, then you have a conflict with Islam. Otherwise, Islam has no problem.
You asked this important question. You said, why would they want to globalize in the first place?
Want to dominate.
Okay, it's a conspiracy.
It's a domination. Globalize is an activity.
So,
when you globalize,
yes.
you change it for your own sake.
There's a whole grand idea of cultural synchronization that is being
exactly. You allow only one culture.
Then we look at the means of communication, especially because information is powerful. Then when you come to culture, its survival and its transcendence across borders, then information becomes very powerful. Then you look at the gathering, the flow, the storage, the dissemination of information is exclusively their domain. You have the means of communication, you control the airwaves, you control content, you control everything. Then in effect, it becomes kind of cultural domination and nothing like cultural synchronization. There can't be any super culture. One culture has to die and the other survive.
No,
That's the kind of scenario it presents. Is it over
I wouldn't go that far. There's an attempt to kill all cultures, but you cannot kill cultures. Because culture has something to do with your worldview. Your worldview is constructed by your belief. By your belief in what? If you have a perspective, conceptual framework of understanding reality based on authority, we Muslims are very privileged that we have Quran and we have Prophet life, practical life. We have enough material down there to protect our culture. This attempt to dominate is a work of Shaitan. Is going to be there for a long time. But if we understand that Allah created this world from nothing and He sustained it through us, give us tools to understand the functioning of this universe and our role in it, and we have to promote this kind of sense of justice, understanding, respect of human right, and then see to it that in each one Allah